Hello everyone, my name is Santiago Telves and I'm going to talk about my paper, Water Pollution Reduction, Waste Management Methods to Make Rivers Cleaner. I am a student from the Universidad Tecnológica Nacional, Facultad Regional Paraná, and I am from the Electromechanical Engineering department. First of all, I'm going to make a quick introduction. As we can see in these pictures, there's a lot of waste that goes to the rivers. Here there is a lot of organic waste, and in this picture we can see a lot of garbage and plastics. This is really bad for the people who live near to the rivers because they can't use the resources of the rivers. This waste is also bad for the underwater life and is also bad for the seas and the oceans because the rivers will go eventually to the seas and then to the oceans. These problems has been addressed by the Sustainable Development Goals, more specifically the goal number 14, Life Below Water. Now I'm going to tell you about the map of the presentation. First of all, I'm going to talk about the types of waste. Then I'm going to tell you about the methods to clean the rivers. And finally, I'm going to tell you why one method was chosen and the adjustments we need to do in this method. As I said before, now I'm going to talk about the types of waste. The first type of waste is the plastic waste. The plastic is a synthetic material made by hydrocarbons. The plastic is not only the most common kind of waste that we can find in the rivers, it's also the most harmful kind of waste. This is because it takes between 100 and 1000 years to degrade, and when it starts to degrade, produces something that is called microplastics. The microplastics are really bad for the fishes because when they eat this microplastic, they can have an intestinal obstruction or a false sense of satiety. So they starve to the death. The next type of waste is the chemical waste. The chemical waste can infiltrate both surface and groundwater sources. The groundwater sources are not easy to access, so when the groundwater sources are um, polluted with chemical waste, it's not easy to clean. It is really dangerous that the chemical waste uh, goes to the groundwater. The chemical waste permanently affects the waters because it's difficult to remove from rivers. You need to use something like a filter, but it is always remains something of this chemical waste. The chemical wastes are really dangerous to us because can cause acute poisoning, a suppression of the immune system, and it can cause problems with the reproduction. Finally, the last type of waste is the organic waste. The organic waste is the less harmful kind of waste. This is because the fishes can eat this waste and it isn't bad for their health. The organic waste it also has a fast decomposition, so it's not like the plastic that remains a lot of time in the rivers. But it can be detrimental to environmental health because not all the organic waste is good. For example, there is something called leaches that is a yellow or black liquid that is a mix between water and uh, organic material in the composition that is really bad for the health and it has a really bad smell. Now I'm going to talk about the different methods to clean rivers. There are four methods. The first one is the river cleaning system. The second one is the river oil. The third one is the harbor skimmer, and the last one is the multi-purpose amphibious dredger. The first method, the river cleaning system, is made by the river cleaning company. This method is made up of a series of floating floating devices that are put in the surface of the rivers. All the devices are the same, so here we can see how these devices work. These devices has several fins that produce a rotational movement. This rotational movement is caused by the flow of the river. This movement is very important because when the garbage goes to one of these devices, this rotational movement will move the garbage to the next device until it goes to this trash can. But this method has a problem. If the garbage is too heavy and goes underwater, it will pass this barrier of devices. The next method, river oil, is pretty similar to the river cleaning system. This is because this method was made by the same company, the river cleaning company. These devices has an upgrade. As we can see, they have a filter. These filters allow us to clean chemical waste to the rivers. For example, they can clean oil. And these devices are a little more expensive than the river cleaning system devices, but well, they give us an upgrade. And the problem in the river cleaning system remains here. Now I'm going to talk about the third method, the harbor skimmer. The harbor skimmer is a water vehicle made by 4Ocean. This vehicle has two pumps and a stainless steel filter. As we can see in this picture, this machine has solar panels. Those solar panels provides the machine with clean energy, solar energy. This machine has two arms that guides the garbage through the machine. Here starts the conveyor belt that picks up the trash and guides this trash to a bag. This vehicle um, is a is slow. Is a slow vehicle, so the fishes can swim under the vehicle and they won't be harmed. The fishes can swim in the middle of the vehicle and avoid the conveyor belt. So this machine is fish friendly. But this method has a drawback. Uh, this machine requires workers on the ground because this machine must be cleaned and someone has to maintain this machine in good condition. The other problem that this machine has is that it's so slow that clean an entire river takes a lot of time. The last machine, or the last method, is the multi-purpose amphibious dredger. As we can see in these pictures, the multi-purpose amphibious dredger is a very big machine. This machine uses a claw or a shovel to pick up the debris or the obstructions and put it on the ground. This multi-purpose amphibious dredger has two supports that must be placed in solid ground because if these supports are placed in soft ground or in mud, they can get stuck. This machine is only for small rivers like this one and does not clean all the rivers. It's more for obstruction. So the big problem with this machine is its maneuverability. You can see it's a big machine and you need space to put these supports. Finally, I'm going to tell you what method was the chosen one. The chosen method was the river oil. The river oil was the chosen method because it's one of the most simple methods and it's the only method that has a filter that can clean the chemical waste. But this method needs conditioning. So we need to put a net under the devices. As I said before, this method has a problem. If the garbage go under the devices, will go through the river. So if we use a net, we can catch that garbage. This net can be 50 kilometers long and 50 meters height. The holes in this net must be 20 by 20 square centimeters because we need the fishes go through the net. We also need a team to clean and maintain the devices. These devices are made of plastic, so they can break easily. We need a team that can fix the devices when it's needed. But this team can work once a month or once a week and don't need a lot of people, like in the harbor scheme. And finally, we have to take into account the flow of the river. The flow of the river is what produces the movement of the devices in the river oil. So, to know how many devices we need to take into account the flow of the river. And we have to know if the plastic of these devices resists the flow of the river. As a conclusion, I can say that it's not too difficult to clean the rivers. We can use a simple method as river oil to clean almost every river in the world. If we optimize the river oil system, we can help a lot of people. The people who live near to the rivers will be capable of use that resources that they can't use now and is an effective but simple method. That is the good part of the river oil. And if we clean the rivers, eventually we will clean the seas and the oceans. So using a method like this one will help a lot of people and will contribute to clean the seas and the oceans. Well, are my references that I use on this paper. These references are also in the Word, so if you want to check this, you can go to the Word. And well, that's all by me. Thank you for your time.